morning, folkers. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you at. Snapzilla Gorilla, aka The Definition, hitting y'all off with another video. And this one is going to contain a lot of information. Okay, there's going to be a lot of information in this video. There's going to be a lot of links that I'm going to put in the description. But one thing I'm getting tired of are people like Tim Pool pushing fear into the people, urging people to believe in government and to trust whatever Trump says. See, Tim Pool, if you guys aren't familiar with who that is, Tim Pool is the guy who was part of Occupy Wall Street or whatever the case may be. And now he's a YouTuber and a alternative news journalist guy. But he has a huge following, a huge voice. A lot of people listen to what he says. A lot of people care about what he says. And this is why I do videos like this, okay? I do videos like these because there are too many people out there with such a huge following and such a huge voice, kind of, in my mind, misguiding people and leading people down the path of fear, of government control, trying to get people to lean to one side. A lot of stuff coming out, okay? Now, you got Trump saying there's going to be a bad 2 weeks. And the task force is projecting about 240,000 deaths, okay, within 2 months. But listen carefully to what Tim Pool says. Because I'm going to play his video, and I'm going to cut in. Now, I'm not monetized, so I don't think anybody's going to come after me for copyright infringement or whatever the case may be. Hit me with a, community guideline strike. But, it is what it is. I don't care. I'm going to put this information out for people to see, for people to hear. And after the video, I'm not going to play his whole video because he likes to ramble a lot. So I'm going to play the important bits. Then I'm going to get to some data that I'm going to share with you guys. Because look, I want to help everybody understand that people die, okay? People die for whatever reason. People die from plane accidents, car accidents, heart attacks, strokes, pneumonia, tetanus, all kind of things. There are all kind of things in this world that could take us out. Okay, you can get a little cut in your arm, right? You get a little cut in your arm. Your white blood cells and your red blood cells aren't getting it cracking fast enough. Some contamination arm. You get it. I mean, you can get staphylococcus. Whatever you call it. What do they call that? Whatever the fuck. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Hell, you can die from getting your armpits. There's all kind of shit that can kill you. Okay, but we are not locking ourselves in our homes. We're not shutting down the government, which should be shut down, by the way. By the way, they didn't shut down government. They shut down the economy. The government's still going strong, and they're gaining more power. That's what this is about. And your boy Tim Pool is instrumental. He is going to be instrumental in helping us give up more of our freedoms because people are sheep, okay? And once someone gains a following like him, people tend to fall into the cult of personality disorder, and they like to follow people like him into oblivion. But I'm here to help you understand that, look, let me just play this video, man. This is nonsense. Look. Hold on.
It's still shocking to me that there are people who don't think the threat of the coronavirus is serious. It's still shocking me that people are questioning whether or not anything is really going on because that...
Now, let me tell you something. Tim Pool likes to tout himself as a left-leaning libertarian, whatever the fuck that means. There's no such thing as a left-leaning libertarian. And also, he likes to talk about how he doesn't trust the government, how he doesn't trust mainstream media. Doesn't trust the government. Doesn't trust mainstream media. Okay? Now, let's continue with this. Fuck, damn, man.
Cotton notably,
Sorry,
saying
y'all.
we got to get a handle on this banned travel. We had our first death in the U.S. February 29th. We had 889 deaths yesterday. That's 37 people dying every hour. So yes, based on CDC estimates, we are now in the mid-range of where the flu would be based on their estimates. A lot of people are wondering why it is there's so many hospitals that aren't being overloaded, and there's a few important points to be made. There's no visitors, so you're not going to see cars in the parking lot. These hospitals aren't necessarily in hotspots, and they're preparing because people don't seem to understand what an exponential growth is. I'm going to show you the graph.
So, if you don't know, people have been going to hospitals, okay, to see what the action is at these hospitals. And quite a few of them, there's not a lot going on. Quite a few. Now, he's saying that, oh, they're not at every hospital. There's no one in the parking lot because there's no visitors. But these people that are going to these hospitals, they're not just going to the parking lot. They're going up to the hospital. They're talking to healthcare workers to ask them questions, to interview them. So, see, he just gives you half-ass information. No one's just going to the parking lot, okay?
But the most important thing right now is for everyone who doubts this, look, everybody, if you hate Donald Trump and you doubt this, then you need to pay attention to what the doctors are saying. And if you like Donald Trump and you doubt this, then you need to pay attention to what Trump is saying. Now, the Daily Mail adds something unnecessary, saying Trump finally accepts reality.
Now, look.
President warns America.
You see this? What he just did, with his mouth, with his big rabbit mouth, right? That's an ad hominem attack. Let me pull that back. It doesn't matter how fast he talks. Well, actually it does, because that's how he slips shit in. Now, that's how he gets shit past people. Okay? He thinks he's pretty sharp. Not so much. And the reason I watch him is because he, like I said, he has a huge following and he reaches a lot of people. And that concerns me when people start doing shit like he's doing right now. So let's get to it. He said, damn it. Now I'm talking too much.
Next 2 weeks will be very painful. Look, everybody, if you hate Donald Trump and you doubt this, then you need to pay attention to what the doctors are saying. And if you like Donald...
Sorry about this, y'all. I didn't write no script. I ain't got no scripts and nothing like that. I'm just going off the top of my dome. And look, what he just did was called appeal to authority. It's a fallacy, okay? It's a fallacy. Instead of, he doesn't want you to take in all the facts. He doesn't want to get you, he doesn't want you to get as much information as you can on your own. He just wants you to listen to the experts and listen to Donald Trump. You see what he said? Oh, if you like Donald Trump and you don't believe in this, or you think this is not as bad as it, listen to Trump. If you don't like Trump, then listen to the doctors. Well, I would say that the doctors would have very good reason to make you think that this is as bad as they say it is. So that's what you call appeal to authority. You appeal, you try to, when you present an argument that you want to sway people toward a certain thing, you tell them, well, Donald Trump said this. Oh, well, Dr. Fauci said that. Oh, this doctor knows what he's talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. The doctor knows what he's talking about. You don't need to go get more information. I don't have to give you more information than that. He doesn't want you to go seek information on your own. He wants you just to trust the authority. Appeal to authority. It's a fallacy. Just because someone is a so-called expert on something and they're telling you something doesn't mean that it's golden. They're human. They're not infallible. So that's why it's always important for y'all and me and everybody else. When people tell you shit, don't just take it at face value. Go look at the information. Go see what's happening for yourself. Or if you're not interested in that, that's fine too. That's fine. I'm just saying, if you really don't just trust what people are saying, man. Because this shit's serious. This shit's serious. This whole shit surrounding this COVID-19 thing is very serious. Whether the disease is serious or not, this is serious.
Trump and you doubt this, then you need to pay attention to what Trump is saying. Now, the Daily Mail adds something unnecessary, saying Trump finally accepts reality. President warns America next 2 weeks will be very painful, as expert warns of 100,000 U.S. deaths, but says he wanted to give people hope when challenged.
Now, if you follow Tim Pool, you can see the progression of how he turned from, oh, I don't really like Trump, blah, blah, blah. Now he's just all for Trump all of a sudden. The left-leaning libertarian who calls himself a freedom lover and doesn't trust the government, doesn't trust politics, doesn't trust the mainstream media, is now all of a sudden a spokesperson for Trump, trying to push Trump's propaganda and Trump shit on to you. All right?
On why he took so long to sound the alarm. I think it's fair to say that he was downplaying this a bit early on. And I have been critical, but I don't want to say that I'm, overly harsh. I thought he should have been a bit more serious and stern. But I understand it. When Donald Trump announced that there would be a travel for, he was restricting travel from people coming from Europe, they said he was inciting panic, and that he caused the market to fall. So there's no safe way to do this. I do not blame. Look, you know what, man? I don't know who else could be president. I don't know how good of a job they could have done. We can speculate all day and night. And of course, people who hate Trump are going to pretend that anybody else would have done a better job. I don't know that. And I'm not going to speculate. What I can say is this is an act of nature. As far as we know right now, our best bet is that this is an act of nature. The virus emerged. It started spreading. Now, I think China is to blame for the most part because they could have stopped this. We could have gotten a handle on this very early on if they didn't lie and withhold information.
Shut up.
The whistleblower, dangerous and difficult position to be in. But now I think I am more worried about the impact we're going to face here in the U.S. more than I've ever been so far, even with everything we've seen in foreign countries. And I'll tell you the reason why. Donald Trump he's essentially pulled down the curtain. He's straight up saying, you know what? I wanted to give people hope, but it's going to get bad. And in these next 2 weeks, we are going to lose thousands of people. We lost 889 people just the other day, March 31st, around 37 dead per hour. So yes, let's read the story. And we've got news from some other countries, and I got some news on the border security. Trump is going to be ramping up border security. President Donald Trump has acknowledged the sobering reality of the sheer number of...
Now look, once again, Tim Pool is only giving you the information he wants you to hear. He's not giving you complete and full information. 800 deaths in one day. Okay. Even though before that, if you look at the chart, there were days where there were no deaths. Okay. So, and they were, listen. Now, I'm going to get into what he's talking about when he said that the White House is talking about all these deaths. Okay. Now, this is from the Washington Post. I'm going to read you something from the Washington Post, where they're talking about it. They're talking about what the White House thinks. So, I'm going to check on work stuff. Anyway, so very important, you guys. The world's in what? No, it's not it. Alrighty then. Okay, so let me get back to the beginning. White House task force projects 100,000 to 240,000 deaths in U.S., even with mitigation efforts. In Washington, at least 37 deaths from COVID-19 have so far been associated with a life care center home of Kirkland. Okay, 37 deaths in Washington so far have been associated with life care center homes. Okay, nursing home. All right, let's look at this. The White House coronavirus task force on Tuesday presented a grim picture of where the U.S. could be heading over the next couple of months. Even with interventions like physical distancing, task force project 100,000 to 240,000 deaths from the coronavirus with mitigation. So that means that all these things they're forcing you guys to do, forcing us to do, stay at home, social distancing, can't have parties, people, cops arresting you for having parties and having people at your own very own house, right? Your own house. That's the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment being violated right there. The right to assemble and the right to be secure in your person's papers, properties, and effects violated because of this COVID-19 pandemic. Now, here are some significant developments. Barbara Burks and David Fauci, the two leaders of the White House task force, emphasized that although the projection of 100,000 to 240 deaths were likely, they were hopeful they could prevent such a higher number by adhering to strict mitigation protocols. But they just told you that even with mitigation protocols, there could still be 100,000 to 240,000 deaths. What they want are more strict. More strict. That means you can't go out the house for shit. That means that so-called essential jobs and personnel, like with me, you know, I'm a so-called essential worker. That might be coming to an end. They just put new guidelines in LA County. See? That's what I have to go to work. Right? I mean, so I might be having to stay at home soon. You just don't know, because some of these schools that I'm working at, they're only open 2 or 3 days a week now. You know, they were passing out food. Now they're not, people aren't showing up to get food, right? Some places they're getting 500 people a day. Other places they're getting 10,000. So, you know, they're kind of shrinking the schools that are going to be open. And not only that, even amidst this coronavirus outbreak, pandemic, emergency, motherfucking shit, they still have time. They still have people out there, the police, that have time to go out there and give people parking tickets. That are people that are parking at meters. There's no one is going to work. No one's parking at meters. So you telling me you still, oh, that's essential? You got to go extort our money. You got to make sure you get paid, right? Man, it's nonsense, man. They still got workers out there passing tickets out like it's nothing. All right. Memos between White House and the CDC show federal officials are debating whether to recommend the face coverings be routinely worn in public because of increasing evidence that people who are asymptomatic can spread the virus. Now, look at that. Whether to recommend that face coverings be routinely worn in public. Recommend? No. What they mean is ordered. Okay? They're going to try to force us to wear face masks when we're out in public. So they want you to put a face covering on so that you can breathe in your own CO2 and limit the amount of oxygen that's getting to your lungs. That's what they want to do. Even though being outside in the fresh air is a lot safer than being in your house cooped up when people are sick. It's better to go out and get fresh air. It's better to go out and get vitamin D. It's better to breathe in that oxygen. No, they want you to they don't want you out in the sun, because they know that the vitamin D is very good for your immune system and boosts your immune system. You know, and the best way to get the vitamin D is through sunlight. You can get it through certain foods, but it's much better if you get it via sunlight. No, they want you to they want you to wear a mask. They want you to wear goggles. They want you to wear face shields when you go outside so that you can breathe in the CO2 that you're breathing out of your freaking mouth. All right? Unbelievable. Louisiana reported by far it's the largest of the new confirmed cases in the 24-hour period today, Tuesday afternoon, which is yesterday, with infections and deaths each jumping about 30%. Total known infections in the state hit 5,237 deaths. And deaths, total infections in the state hit 5,000 of Louisiana, 5,237, and the deaths were up to 239 on Tuesday afternoon. Okay, that's what they're telling us. Now, that's enough of this one. So, let's see. And then here's another one. This is a CNN article. Trump warns of painful 2 weeks ahead of the White House projects more than 100,000 coronavirus deaths. Okay? Trump warned of a painful and tough 2-week stretch ahead as he extended nationwide distancing measures. Even if followed closely, because, I mean, come on. No, they're going to tell you that being in your house isn't enough. They're going to tell you that essential businesses being open is not enough. You're still spreading the virus because people are still going to these essential service places like the grocery store, like this, like that. Imagine them possibly shutting down grocery stores, them shutting down all these essential services, keeping you in the house 24/7. And then they're going to bring you food. I don't know how it's going to work, but you know, maybe they bring you food. Maybe they drop food at your doorstep. You won't be able to choose what you eat. You're just going to take what they give you, or you're going to have to make sure that you have at least 2-3 weeks worth of food stored up in the house because you're not gonna be able to go out and get shit. That's why they're saying all this. They're saying that social distancing, what we're doing right now, might not be enough. Complete and utter nonsense, man. Complete and utter nonsense. Now, here we go. But this is very interesting. Now, this article is from this here. This here article is from the New England Journal of Medicine, okay? And it was, this is an editorial written by Anthony Fauci, H. Clifford Lane, MD, and Robert Redfield, MD. All medical doctors, okay? Now, Fauci is part of the COVID-19 task force for the White House. Now, we're going to start with this. The latest threat to global health is ongoing outbreak of respiratory disease that was recently given the name of coronavirus disease 19. COVID-19 was recognized in December 2019. It was rapidly shown to be caused by a novel coronavirus that is structurally related to the virus that causes severe acute respiratory syndrome, as in 2 preceding instances of emergence of coronavirus disease in the past 18 years. SARS 2002 and 2003, and the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, MERS, 2012 to the present. The COVID-19 outbreak has posed critical challenges for public health research and medical communities. I'm going to skip down to the numbers here, okay? I'm going to skip down to the numbers, what we're talking about here. On the basis of case definition requiring diagnosis of pneumonia, the currently reported case fatality rate is approximately 2%. In another article of the journal, Guan et al. And others report mortality of 1.4% among 1,099 patients with a laboratory-confirmed COVID-19. These patients had a wide spectrum of disease severity. If one assumes that the number of asymptomatic or minimally symptomatic cases is several times as high as the number of reported cases, the case fatality rate may be considerably less than 1%. Okay? This suggests that overall clinical consequences of COVID-19 ultimately are more akin to those of severe seasonal flu, influenza, which has a case fatality rate of approximately 0.1%, or a pandemic influenza, similar to those in 1957 and 1968, rather than a disease similar to MERS and SARS, which had a case fatality rates of 9, 10%, and 30%, 36%, respectively. You see that? This suggests the overall clinical consequences of COVID-19 ultimately be more akin to those of severe seasonal influenza or SARS and MERS, okay, which goes up to about 36%. But there was no freak out for these things, okay? It is more likely that it's going to be like the influenza, okay? And at worst, 36%. 36% death rate. And at this rate, as it's going right now, it's still at a little less than 1%, a little over 1% right now. For known cases, as opposed to known deaths, 1%. It has not even crept up past 4% in this country. So it doesn't look like it's going to reach the same rate as SARS and MERS at the rate that it's going right now, at the rate that it's been going. As a matter of fact, when it started, it was at 3.4%. And it has gone down to a little bit over 1%, according to the numbers, if you believe in this thing, okay? Doesn't look like it's getting to MERS. Doesn't look like it. And like I said, even then, there were no Mickey Vicky shutdowns. There were no restrictions on our rights. None of that happened under any of this stuff. Nothing. Come on, man. So, look. That's what David Fauci. This is what Anthony Fauci said. Now let's crunch the numbers, okay? They're saying 240,000 deaths, right? Now we're going to start at the high end of 36%, okay? So 230,000 is what percentage? Wait, no, 230,000 is 0.36. So that means, so if we start at the high end of 36% deaths, 36%, which is what the MERS was. If they're saying it could be up to the rate of the MERS at 36%, okay, 36%. Guess how many people would need to be infected for that to happen? For us to reach that 36% with 240,000 deaths. This is how many people need to be infected in America alone. 638,888.889. Okay, so let's round that up. 638,000. Let's just say 640,000 people. 640,000 people have to die, have to be infected with COVID-19, right, to get to 36%. For 240,000 be 36% of the 36% death rate. That means there had to be 640,000 people who actually get infected. At 36%, that's a high number. So that would have to be achieved in 2 months, like they're saying. 2 months. So now, if we take 240,000, right, and we're trying to get to 0.1%, like with the flu. Let's see, 0.1%. So now 240 million people. Yeah, 240 million people would have to be infected by COVID-19. That's 240,000 million people in this country. There's what, 326 million people in the United States? Yeah, 240 million people would have to be infected with COVID-19 to achieve 240,000 deaths at the 0.1% death rate. Okay? Now let's do this. Right now it's at 1.4, something like that. Something like that. Right now, as of right now, let's do 1.4. So for it to maintain this level of death rate, let's see, 1%. Let's say 1%. Let's see, 240,000 deaths. 0.14. No, 0.14. I'm tripping. All right, 17 million people. About 17 million people would have to be infected with COVID-19. So, let me ask y'all something. What do you think the odds are that 240 million people are going to become infected with COVID-19? And mind you, no other death matters right now. People are still dying every day of different things, but none of that matters because why? Because COVID-19. Because COVID-19. No other death matters as long as COVID-19 is around, right? All right. So, as of right now, COVID-19 is killing That's killed 4,000 people. So you're talking about in 2 months, it's going to jump from 4,000 to possibly 240,000 people. Damn. 240,000 people. That's 2 months. 2 months. Is that what we're saying here? Not 24,000 people. 204,000 or 240,000 people. Let me see if I got that right. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. No. It's 240,000 people. You're talking about in 2 months. Okay, we're gonna do a little math here. In 2 months, so we're at 4,000 right now. So let's say 240,000 people minus 4. Let's say 4,300. So in 2 months, they're talking about 235,700 people dying. In 2 months from COVID-19 alone. With just COVID-19, 235,000 people. All right, yeah, we're gonna rock with that, right? For sure. Let's see. Now, this is what I want to get into. Now, who has, again, what percentage of people have underlying conditions that are dying from COVID-19 or hospitalized? All right. Well, 73% of America. Now, this is from sciencealert.com, and we're looking at an article that was written yesterday, all right, by Tyler Sonamaker, okay? Among U.S. patients hospitalized with COVID-19, 73% had at least one underlying condition, according to a new report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, from the CDC. In the United States, persons with underlying health conditions or other recognized factors for severe outcomes from respiratory infections appear to be at a higher risk for severe disease from COVID-19 than persons without these conditions. Now, mind you, peep the technique of the pre-existing conditions. As of March 28th, U.S. states and territories have reported 123,653 cases. And the report said, for the 71 or 7.162 cases, or 7.1, for the 7,162 cases in which patients' underlying health data were available, the CDC says 71% of the patients hospitalized with COVID-19 and 78% of those admitted to intensive care units had pre-existing conditions or risk factors. By contrast, just 27% of people who tested positive but weren't hospitalized had underlying health issues. The most frequently reported pre-existing condition among U.S. coronavirus patients were diabetes. Interesting. Let's look at these. Pimpin'. What was it? The most frequently reported pre-existing conditions among U.S. coronavirus patients were diabetes, chronic lung disease, and cardiovascular disease. Here's how different health conditions correlate with hospitalization and ICU admissions among U.S. coronavirus cases. Okay, now let's look at it. Cases per condition. So there's a chart here, all right? I'll put a link in the description. There's a chart, and you can repeat the chart yourself. Now, COVID cases based on pre-existing conditions. Chronic liver disease. Okay. Hospitalized. That's 41. Counts among the 7,100 cases, 7,162 cases with completed information on pre-existing conditions. Okay. So chronic liver disease. 41 of those, that's 7,000. Okay. Percent of those cases that are non-hospitalized, 59%, 22% of non-ICU, and 17% of ICU. That's for liver disease. Now let's get down to cardiovascular disease. Okay, 647 of those 7,162 patients, 37% were not hospitalized, 7% were hospitalized, 20% were in the ICU. Okay? Now, diabetes. 42%. Now, there's 784 with diabetes. Okay? There's a message here. Okay? Diabetes, lung disease. Okay? Cardiovascular disease. Chronic lung disease. 656 people of that 7,000. 55% non-hospitalized, 23% hospitalized, 14% ICU. Okay? Former smoker. 165 of those. 48% non-hospitalized, 27 non-ICU, 20% ICU. Okay? Let's see. Cardiovascular disease, I went over that. Diabetes, 784 with diabetes, 32% non-ICU, ICU 19%. Other chronic diseases, 1,182 of that 7,000. 49% non-hospitalized, okay? 30% hospitalized, 14% ICU. One or more of those pre-existing conditions, there were 2,692. 52 were non-hospitalized, 27% ICU, 13% ICU. Okay. No pre-existing condition. Let's look at that. 4,470. 84% non-hospitalized, 7% non-ICU, 12% ICU. But do you see me? Let's just give you an idea of the hospitalization counts, okay? If you have according to this, if you have a non-pre-existing condition, if you don't have a pre-existing condition, then you will not be hospitalized 84% of the time. So your chances of being hospitalized is at 9%. You're 9% likely to be hospitalized for COVID-19 according to this, according to the CDC. All right? Once again, this link will be in the description. All right. Now, let's move on to this. And this is the last bit. This is the last of what I got for you guys. Okay? This is the National Center for Health Statistics, deaths and mortality. All right, this is from the Center of Disease Control. All right, what we're going to go over here is data for the U.S. Okay? This is 2019. This is the death mortality stats for 2019. Okay? No, wait. No, wait. This is for 2017, my bad. But you know what? Let's go to... Let's see. All right. So, let's go over this 2017 data. Okay? And we're going to go over this. We're going to go over this data. All right. This is very important. Very important. Very important that we understand these numbers here and how they can relate to COVID-19 and the pre-existing condition thing. Okay? Now, data for the U.S. in 2017, you got 2,813,503. The death rate is 836 deaths, or 863.8 deaths per 100,000 population. Life expectancy, 78.6 years. Infant mortality rate, 5.79 deaths per 1,000 live births. Okay? So now let's look at this. Number of deaths for leading causes of deaths. Heart disease, 647,457. Okay? Cardiovascular disease, 37%. Now, when I go back to the pre-existing condition chart here that shows you who is going to be hospitalized for what? Cardiovascular disease, which is heart disease. 37, non-ICU, 20% ICU. Okay, so that's 57%. 57% are hospitalized. Cardiovascular. Okay, and here you have 647,457 deaths. Cancer, 599,108. Accidents, 169,000. But that's not, that's not part of this, right? So now let's look at chronic lower respiratory diseases. Chronic lower respiratory diseases. By the way, we don't shut down shit for this. We don't shut down shit for these numbers, for cardiovascular diseases. Okay? Chronic lower respiratory diseases, 160,201. Okay? Stroke, 147,383. Alzheimer's, 121,404. Diabetes, 83,564. Influenza and pneumonia, 55,672. And then if you go watch that video that Tim Pool did, he mentioned something about 12 to 20,000 or something like that. Downplaying the deaths of the flu, okay? Downplaying it, just straight up. Now, when you look at that, let's take chronic respiratory diseases. Let's take that, and then we'll add that to diabetes plus pneumonia, influenza and pneumonia. All right, let's add those numbers up. Okay, so if you take chronic lower respiratory diseases, that's 160,201, and then you add influenza. Okay, you got 55,672, and then you add that to diabetes, 83,564. 299,000 people die each year from all those things combined. And they're saying 240,000 for COVID-19 within the next 2 months. Yeah. And you consider the number of people that have pre-existing conditions just like this that are dying with COVID-19, allegedly, but they have this pre-existing condition. Now, is it possible that they could have died from one of these diseases and just so happen to have COVID-19? I mean, their immune systems are already compromised. And I said this is important because guess why? Because of the way we eat, because of what we put in our bodies, because of what the sun we're not getting, because we're not getting vitamin C, because our immune system is so weakened by the conditions we live in today, because they want us to slather on sunblock. They want us to put on sunglasses. Now they want us to wear masks. They don't want us getting no sun. They don't want us getting vitamin C. Listen, the quality of the food that we're eating is not so great. And if you want quality food, you're spending mad buku bucks on it. The food I get, mad expensive. Because I refuse to feed my family crap. So I got a drink to how much I spend on food. Damn near $2,000 a month just on food for my family, just so they're eating quality food. Now, when you look at everything, look at all the things I presented to you guys, I mean, draw your own conclusions. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description. Listen, man. All the government cares about is power. Excuse me. All they care about is control. All they care about is keeping the masses down so they can do whatever they want to do. All they care about is controlling the land, the water, the sea, the air. That's all they care about. I see them as wanting to reduce the population so that they can have free access to all the beauties of the world without us getting in the way, without us snatching up all the resources they feel belong to them. They feel entitled to everything in the world has to offer us. When we gonna wake up and realize that this is happening? We're gonna wake up and realize that Trump is not gonna save you. Q has no plan. The plan that Q has is to keep your ass dumbed down and believing in a plan that's never going to come to fruition. Right? Trump folded the Fed into the federal government. But what are you going to do with it? He absorbed the Fed. That's what I'm hearing now? That Trump took over the Fed, but the Fed still exists. He didn't abolish the Fed. He didn't get rid of it. If he has all this power now, why not decentralize the government? Why not shed all this shit right now? What's he waiting on? I'm saying, y'all, you got these governors. Listen, y'all believe what y'all want. Me, I'm always going to question the narrative. I'm always going to question authority, because it's in me to do that. You know, people ask me, oh, why you care so much? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Because I don't like being told what to do. Number one, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like having rulers. I'm no one's follower. I'm no one's piss boy. I do what I want when I want to. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, that's how I want to live. I want to mind my business, you know, and that's it. But there are constantly people that I run into that don't even care about freedom. They don't care about their own freedom. They just want the government to keep them safe. And this is why I do what I do. It's not good enough for me just to be the way I am, for me to love freedom. It's not enough for me to just want to be able to go and mind my own business and go where I want and build a cabin. If I want to build a cabin in the middle of the woods, I can't do that freely because people are still handing their freedom over to the government. Way too many people. Because guess what? Every piece of land that's not being occupied is owned by them. They regulate it. They control it. They dictate what goes on there. So if I wanted to go do my own thing, I'd have to get permits and to build something. This is nonsense. That's not freedom. And this is why I do what I do, because I want everybody to understand what true freedom is. Most people do not understand true freedom. They don't. They want laws. They want chains. They want to be restricted. They want other people to be restricted. They want other people to be ruled over. That's not freedom. So that's why I do what I do. When y'all gonna wake up, man? Let's get with the program. We need to stand up for our rights. We need to stand up for our freedoms because they are slowly being eroded away. Trump changed his tune. And he's trying to get $2 trillion. For what? For the infrastructure? Who's going to pay for that? No one's working. Unemployment rate is through the roof. Who's going to pay for all that? Another $2 trillion on top of the $6.2 trillion that we already fucking squandered from ourselves that we're going to have to pay back? Expect prices to go up on everything. That's not, a stimulus check for $1,200, what's that going to do? That'll last you a good 2 weeks, if that. But you know, we'll gladly just roll over and take a shaft up our asses for that little $1,200 check, right? You know, it's crazy. I don't understand it. Can't see the forest for the trees. Well, guess what? If you don't watch out, the tree gonna whack you upside the head, and no one's yelling timber. You understand? Never mind the corn. Just listen to what I'm saying. They have big plans. And it involves us being... It involves our ability to travel to be limited. It involves our freedoms, our rights to keep and bear arms to be highly restricted, almost non-existent, because they got 2 bills going through Congress right now that look to take away all of our rights to keep and bear arms completely. So as this is happening, new laws are going to be. They're going to try to pass new laws. They're going to vote on laws in the local and state governments. We have to pay attention to everything outside of this. And no one cares about any other death. No one cares about any other death. The only death that matters is the COVID-19 death. Pay attention. All right? Hopefully you guys made it through the whole video. Hopefully I gave you guys some good information. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to put links in the description box so you guys can see what's going on, so you guys can see where I got my data from, got my information. Much love to you guys. I'll holler at y'all later. Got to get back to it. Peace out.